Are Gen Alpha students really that bad? Like, I keep hearing these horror stories of like, Gen Alpha like not being able to read, not being able to like tell the time, you looking at a proper like analog clock. Some of these must be exaggerations. Like, and obviously not all of Gen Alpha will be like this. I've got Gen Alpha cousins who are, normal, pretty smart, but like, can all of it be made up? Like they say, there's no smoke without fire.
Teachers of all ages are quitting their job because of the behavior of Gen Alpha students.
So Merry Christmas, Brielle.
We're about to see a splitting of society, and I don't mean anything political.
All right, so we're going to be talking about another set of videos that I have seen popping up on my feed recently, most likely because I made a video talking about Christmas hauls and Christmas lists from children, along with really bad parenting, TikTok parents of vlogging, all of that mess that we've seen before. But today we're going to be checking out the consequences of Gen Alpha, or the iPad kids, as a lot of people will say, starting
The iPad kids, is that what they're called?
to grow up and go through the schooling system
The
and what a
iPad
lot
kids.
of teachers are going through because of it. And I'm not going to lie, it is not looking good. And I know I sound like an old person. I sound like the boomer saying that, oh, the younger generations have it so much easier.
Because that's what people said about millennials. People were like, "Oh, millennials, they've had it so easy. They've been wrapped in cotton wool."
so much dumber than they were, millennials with the participation trophies, and Gen Z just does nothing but sit online all day. But honestly, we're starting to see issues arise from these kids when they are literally only a couple years old. Very crucial years, developing and socializing and being able to interact in the world. And shocking when there's an iPad stuck in their face 24/7, that doesn't really help them. So we're going to be going over some clips from teachers and seeing what's happening on their side, because whether you like it or not, they're the ones who are spending most of the time with these children instead of their actual parents. So I think
Yeah.
this video is a good place to start.
Former teacher, and I have this prediction of where we're going as a society. I think this has already been happening, but it's going to be more pronounced. We're about to see a splitting of society, and I don't mean anything political. The splitting is going to be the people who live their life with completely unfiltered internet access from the second they were born, and the people that were raised by parents that kept them at least in some levels of moderation of technology and screen time.
Honestly, I thank God that I grew up just before the internet really took off. Like just before. I'm so glad, because some people are genuinely like addicted. Like they live online. Like as soon as they wake up, they're online all the way to when they go to bed.
Telling you right now, it is going to be more obvious the people that exist that are one or the other. If you don't already know, we are seeing the enormous negative effects of kids who are being raised on iPads and in screen time. And one of the biggest issues that's coming from it is the complete inability to control and understand your emotions at all if you were nothing but screen time. Not to mention the inability for impulse control, needing constant, like having struggle with focusing, struggling with relationships, a sense of entitlement, as well as an element of narcissism where they feel like their life should revolve around them. They should have access to their thing all the time. No one can take what they want, what they need, what they should have out and away from them.
So I don't have an enormous amount of experience with this because I don't have a kid yet. Of course, you do see it all over the place, whether you're in a restaurant or Target, anywhere in public, you'll probably end up seeing some child with an iPhone or an iPad, maybe even headphones, completely zoned out of the whole world.
And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't have iPads, but I don't know if you should. I don't want to judge parents. I don't want to sound judgy, but like having a kid, like a toddler, like a 3-year-old on the iPad for like 6-7 hours, like they get back from daycare, let's say 4 o'clock, and they're on the iPad all the way till 9. Oh my God.
Watching some sort of show. But if you really want to go digging around, there are several videos just showing how detached from reality these children are.
Say Merry Christmas. Say Merry Christmas, Brielle.
Wow.
So, I mean, if I was trying to do that and like hitting stuff out of my parents' hand when I was a kid, probably would have been way worse than getting my iPad taken away. But that just ends up being the way they think in general. And it's both parties' faults because the child clearly did not buy the iPad or the headphones so she could listen to whatever she wants, wherever she wants. It's not even like back when I was a kid, there's a TV show on in the living room. Everybody who was in the vicinity had to watch that specific show. Now that's not even the case. So imagine having everything you want delivered to you instantly, along with possibly having access to the internet to find whatever you want at such a young age. We could take a look at some of the comments. Never understood why parents give their kids iPads, phones, etc. at a young age. Didn't get my first phone until I was 12 and it was a flip phone and I had 10 texts a week. I played with Legos and went outside like a normal kid. Don't ever see kids playing outside anymore. I could also attest to that as well. Even though I don't have my own kid, I'm in an area in North Carolina that is very, very popular with starting families. Everybody's got a couple kids down here around me, but if I go out to the park to go shoot around on the field or go to run, I mean, really anywhere in public, there's not too many kids playing, especially with the amount that live in just my town alone.
Yeah, for sure. The amount of kids that play outside has decreased massively. Massively. I blame partially the 24-hour news cycle for that. You just hear about the dangers of playing outside. Oh, there's people outside that are bad, which is true. But like, I feel like it's stopping parents from letting their kids go outside. And as a result, kids are inside on the iPad or gaming or whatever, which is fine in moderation. Like, there's nothing wrong with gaming or going on your iPad. But like, if it's just the entirety of the kids' evening, that's a bit crazy.
I mean, having that access to the internet or even like a YouTube Kids where they'll have barriers so you can't actually find everything that you possibly want, even though we've seen on YouTube there were workarounds and you could find some really messed up stuff on YouTube Kids. But this goes in the same realm in any social media platform. Here's Coco Melon, which is probably the biggest YouTube channel that has a TikTok as well with 6 million followers. And as you could see, it's clearly kids content. So these 6 million followers are most likely all children or the parents' accounts that will give it to their kids to get them to stop being annoying. As crazy as that sounds, but honestly, it's the truth. So if you give these children who are entertained by shows at this nature the ability to be able to swipe every couple seconds just like we can on TikTok, how is that going to mess with their brains when they're developing in life? I've seen clips like this and I know it's supposed to be comedy, but this is 100% going to be the truth in the future.
Nah.
There's another one that
Oh my God, this happens to me now. Oh my God, I think it's the scrolling. Like, is it just me or are you similar to me where like you've just got less patience for like movies and TV shows? They have to hook you quickly, otherwise you're just not going to finish them. Is it just me?
I was trying to find that. I don't know if the guy took down, I saw it a long time ago, but it was like a Gen Alpha being hired for a normal corporate 9-to-5 job, nothing special. And it was just a skit of a guy just zoning out constantly, needing that dopamine hit just like they're on social media on the iPad from the moment they were born. So imagine now putting that kid into a classroom for 6-8 hours a day, not allowed to be on the screen.
They can't concentrate
At all.
Teachers of all ages are quitting their job because of the behavior of Gen Alpha students. And they are citing that exact reason for the decision of them leaving the profession. So many people want to disparage the individual teacher for making that decision, saying that it's their age or it's the era in which they began their career, where they just can't handle this new generation of kids anymore. A few videos back, I discussed how Gen Z teachers and younger teachers that have just entered the profession are seeing some of these behaviors and they're alarmed, and a lot of them are calling it quits after a few years, realizing this is not what they want to do and put up with for the rest of their life. And I see so many people trying to say, well, they're just young and immature and they just don't know what this is all about, and if they can't handle the profession, it's good they get out now because they don't deserve the title of teacher and they need to let somebody else step in and do the job for them. When in reality, we have teachers like this person's mother who have been in the game for several decades, who knew exactly what they were getting into at the start, who had no issues up to this point. But now that they have Gen Alpha students in their classroom, they are more than willing to give up their retirement, pay, just so that they can escape the chaos that your children are bringing into the classroom.
Any parents, teachers watching this, like teachers that are teaching Gen Alpha students, Like, does this match what you're seeing, or is this an exaggeration? Like, is it really harder now? Like, are kids more difficult now compared to, Gen Z or millennials?
And I could 100% understand that because I have a surprising amount of teachers in my family at both ends. Some that are very close to retiring, saying that they're just trying to eke out a couple more years with these horrible kids just so they could get their retirement and get out of it. And the people who just came in going, these kids are the worst. There's absolutely zero manners. They're the worst that I've ever seen. So this doesn't really seem like a one-off issue. We could look at some of the comments. It's the screens during early development. Kids 0 to 2 and 3 to 5 are missing out on a period of critical development. My mom's a millennial, and as Gen Z with Gen Alpha siblings, 10-year age gap, I heard my mom say it's the school's job to teach them. What's the point of having kids in the first place if you're not actually going to parent them? I want to know what they're going to do when so many quit that a school can't operate. It was a lack of respect and a lack of consequences for their actions that drove me away. 25-year-old veteran teacher, the biggest change I've seen in students, parents don't set boundaries. Teacher of 35 years, it's not just the challenge of these Gen Alpha students, it's the millennial parents. I mean, I guess to a point I could understand. I've always played video games as I was a little kid. I had a Game Boy and all the iterations.
Same. I played video games. I had a PlayStation.
Until I got a PlayStation, I played that for years. I did play sports though and go outside, especially during the summer. I was basically out all day, every day, biking around, skating around town with my friends, and you really just don't see that in general unless they want a $1,000 motorized scooter to ride back and forth to their friend's house, and they'll probably just end up playing video games and then ride right back. But even watching TV back when I was a kid and playing video games is a completely different beast to social media today, and this is happening.
Social media is just so addictive. It really is. Like Reels and like TikTok, I for sure think that Reels and TikTok damage your brain. Like I was using those, I used to be on TikTok a lot, and I noticed that my memory was getting worse. I had a hard time putting my phone down. It was noticeable. And then when I dropped it, I reduced it, my memory got better. It's so strange.
All over the world.
I've been teaching for like 10 years. I've been in the game for 10 years. And before that, I was a teaching assistant. So I've been in it even longer than 10 years. One thing that I'm noticing, this generation, Alpha, bloody hell, they are a piece of work. And I'm seeing some teachers in America saying this, but so I work in year 2, and
year 2 for any Americans is they're about 5 or 6 years old.
Oh my God, I feel victimized by some of these 6 and 7 year olds. Like, they don't listen, they're violent as hell. Their academic abilities are so much lower than I've seen in my previous teaching years. They're helpless. You ask a question, they're just staring at you. They still can't form their letters.
A lot of kids are showing up in year 1, which is 5 years old, and they're not even potty trained. They're not toilet trained. How crazy is that? A 5-year-old that's not been toilet trained. They don't know how to go to the toilet.
Like before, in a class of 30, you might have had maybe 5 or 6 students that, needed support to access the curriculum. Now it's like the other way around. You have 5 or 6 students that can access the curriculum, and then the rest of the class really struggles.
And some of the comments from this video is just insane. My sister is an EYFS teacher.
EYFS is early years.
And she won't push her 4-year-old to hold a pen properly in case it stresses him out. Are you kidding me? There is literally no hope. Now, I will be the first to admit, especially when I was done with high school and I dropped out of community college, I barely write anything. Basically, the only thing that I actually write is my signature on certain documents sometimes. Almost everything is done on the internet, so the keyboard is really the most important, but I still do know how to write, of course. And a teacher actually doing that for her son, that's not a good situation at all. 2 words, screen addiction for both children and parents. It all starts at home. And I mean, I know this does have some connection to what we see on TikTok, and I know a lot of people believe that it's a Chinese psyop. up, you know, we're scrolling every 5 seconds, getting our attention spans worse and worse, watching the dumbest videos, overall legitimately making us dumber, and some believe it's 100% on purpose. However, when we start going down to the children, of course there is TikTok like we saw with the Coco Melon account, but the overwhelming majority is YouTube Kids, watching all of these shows and animations for hours on end, and because that's where they get a majority of their communication, unfortunately, I've even seen in some cases, you probably have too, where if any of these characters on these shows, or I guess just YouTube channels, have accents, there's a possibility that a child could pick up an accent just because that's how they're learning to speak. It's unbelievable. I know somebody where their kid was...
Are you kidding me? So a kid that watches like a British cartoon show, they'll start talking like me. That's crazy.
On for so long that they started picking up a slight Australian accent, even though they were American. So even though it probably sounds pretty hypocritical, because almost everything that I do for a living is all completely online. Whenever I do have kids, I'm not going to be giving them an iPad and a pair of headphones like you saw in that clip where they could just sit and watch whatever they want.
No way. They're going to be reading books.
But unfortunately, it seems like even if I do parent my child correctly, there will be many in their generation will just be completely mentally stunted and not really know how to communicate and work in the world, which sounds completely ridiculous and something that I'm just making up, but I really wouldn't doubt that we'd see in the next 5 to 10 years some really, really bad consequences. So
for sure. It definitely makes me scared for the future, for sure, because on the one hand, you've got all of these kids that are just addicted to the internet, like addicted. And then on the other hand, you've got AI that's getting better and better every single day. It's already taking a lot of jobs away. Like, believe it or not, it is happening. And it's just improving all the time. What does the future look like? The next 10, 20 years, it is terrifying what's going on. Honestly, I think that if and when I have kids, knock on wood, I'm not going to allow them to like get on TikTok and things like that. Not until they are maybe into their teens. Oh, but then again, obviously, they might be able to do it behind my back. You know, it's quite easily. They could hide it from me. But I will do everything in my power to like not let them get addicted to it, because I've felt it myself, the effects of it, and it's just not good. Like, and my brain was developed after TikTok and Instagram Reels and all of that stuff happened. Like, I can't imagine a kid who is born right now into this is on TikTok from the minute they can walk. By the time they're 18, like, what is that going to do to their brains? Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and check out the video I'm going to link right here. See you there.